What's one of the worst money mistakes you've ever made? I asked some of my friends and colleagues this question, and since these are established women entrepreneurs, many of them making 6 and 7 figures, you can learn a lot from their answers. These stories are eye-opening and packed with lessons that you can use to avoid expensive pitfalls in your own financial journey. Because the truth is, learning from mistakes can be just as powerful as learning from successes, sometimes even more powerful. And it can help you accelerate your path to wealth and financial freedom. Stay tuned until the end because I'll share one of my own worst money mistakes that's like a dagger to the heart, because I'd be even farther ahead of where I am now and in a position to be even more abundant and generous if I had seen this video back then. So tap the like button and here we go.
The worst money mistake I made was putting visibility before strategy, spending thousands on a PR firm back in my food days without a back-end offer in place, without a solid brand in place. And I learned that attention without true intention is just noise.
One of the worst money mistakes I ever made that still it has that like Homer Simpson feel of like, oh, is I took an employer retirement account that I had from working there and I rolled it over into Vanguard so that I could put it into index funds and have it managed there instead without the fees. I thought I had invested it, but I didn't. It was just sitting there waiting for me to go back and invest the money that I had rolled over. And I think it sat there for over a year, which is like, ugh, it's still a little painful. But eventually I got the money invested. I will never make that mistake again. And I am sure to share that story with people so that hopefully they don't make that mistake as well.
Oh, one of the worst money mistakes I ever made had to do with crypto and Bitcoin. I had actually made a decent amount of money with Bitcoin way at the beginning. Like I had only invested like $100 or something and it turned into like 2,500 or something. I jumped on this idea of a friend where they were like mining Bitcoin and somehow it was supposed to like take your Bitcoin and have it be mined and you were supposed to get even greater returns. And I didn't really invest the company and I didn't know what I was doing. I just like blindly trusted this person. I ended up losing all that money. It ended up being a scam. And so like it kind of turned me off to Bitcoin and crypto as a whole, even though I probably should have done my due diligence.
One of the worst money decisions I've ever made was cashing in my 401k when times got tough. Now, at the time, it felt like I was in survival mode and that was my only way of getting relief. But of course, looking back now, man, I really wish I had paused, gotten creative, and looked at other ways to deal with that situation without touching something that was supposed to be my long-term future. It gave me short-term breathing room, that's for sure, but it came at a cost, both financially and energetically. And I have since learned that pressure doesn't mean you're out of options. It just means it's time to get more resourceful, really. Because I've had tough times since then, and I've been able to navigate through. Never fun, but I was able to navigate it. And so that moment taught me a lot about the difference between reacting and responding.
I think one of the mistakes that I have made with my money again and again is kind of use of credit cards, credit card debt. That's definitely been kind of a continuous dance. And I feel like I've grown in that area.
Spending too much investing in things that I hope will get me there instead of actually investing in the things I know that will give me success. So example, instead of joining another high ticket mastermind for like 25K, to put that 25K into actual ad spend, and not all at once, but smartly investing it in my actual business, if that makes sense.
This is kind of a funny story, especially coming from a money person, but my first semester of college, I ran out of money. It was only by a couple of weeks and it wasn't too bad. My parents loaned me a couple of $100, but rest assured that never, ever, ever, ever happened to me again.
Nobody's perfect. We continue to make bad decisions sometimes, right? But I would say categorically, the worst money decisions is, jumping in too fast and not sleeping on it. I hear when a lot of people say, this is only going to be available for this time. And if I don't have the right timeline to make the decision, then it's not for me. So whether it's, some coach saying, it's only available today, I don't make those decisions. I know they're going to be on some other stage making a decision, or providing this same program at some point in time. So I'm not rushed to make the decision. When it comes to real estate investing, even in syndications, I might be getting the investment stack at the very end of the decision-making process. But if I'm not given at least 72 hours and sometimes more to review the stack, sleep on it a couple of nights, get some counsel from my aunts and uncles, our investors as well. If I'm not able to do that, then I pass. I absolutely pass on it. So I think that's one of the most important things, is not to invest too quickly and get too excited and get too emotional when you're talking about your money.
The worst money mistakes I made all revolved around me abdicating responsibility for my money to other people, abdicating responsibility to the big box financial advisors. Later, I abdicated responsibility to the man who is now my husband, because at that time I thought, well, he clearly has a gift for trading and I don't have that gift, so let me just hand everything over to him. The problem was I didn't know how to grow money deliberately. And, I just kind of assumed that everybody else did. I just assumed that I was supposed to know how to grow money, that everybody else had some secret that I didn't have. And if I was supposed to just know and I didn't know, then that must mean I missed the boat somehow. By abdicating responsibility, ultimately that decision wound up costing me well over $200,000. The worst part about it is, since I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to already know, I didn't recognize that my instincts were already pretty good. I just needed skills.
By far, my biggest money mistake is not investing sooner, not investing when I was younger, not starting earlier. And then kind of along with that to follow, feeling like it was too late and then I couldn't get started. So I held myself back for a little while.
It's a painful one. I had an employee, a bookkeeper, who stole over $70,000 from us. Why? Because we didn't have good financial controls in place. And the mistake I made was not watching my money more carefully and understanding where it was going and how it was working and who was working with it. And so it was a painful lesson. Never got that money back, but a good one to have learned early on in my career.
One of the worst money mistakes I made was going too fast with the investments in the team. And we hired a complete 8-person team from overseas. And we didn't really have the right time, the amount of time to really train them. And it just didn't work out. We actually lost a lot of money that year that we did that. After going from our best year ever, we went to one of our it wasn't one of our worst years, but we went down significantly. So it was like jumping in too quickly.
A silly money mistake that I made is I live in Houston, Texas, and I thought when I bought my cars, I don't need to pay for the car shield insurance. I'm always breaking my car windshield. Always. It's Houston. There's always crap on the roads. I knew I should do that. I'm like, that would have been worth the investment of, what was it, $100 total? Stupid. My mistake. Won't do it again.
For me, it's more a matter of blind faith might be the way to put it. I have had a financial advisor for years and years and years now, decades now. I've done the thing that we were supposed to do, get a financial advisor and they're going to handle your investments and you just give them a chunk of money every month and blah, blah, blah. And so I've done that. I've done that for years and years. Was not investing, probably the amount I could have been over time, but pretty consistent with that over the years, and just not knowing and understanding how much money gets lost or can be getting lost when you're working through a financial advisor, like not getting a great return, not realizing how much money gets kind of lost in percentages and such to the financial advisor over time, which by all means, I'm fine with them getting paid for what they do, but I wasn't really conscious of it. I couldn't even tell you the last time I talked to my financial advisor. I still have some money with one of them, but not even paying attention to anything. It's just like almost like set it and forget it. So I would say that's probably not the best thing.
Okay, I promised to share one of my own worst money mistakes, and here it is. For me, it was waiting to invest, and specifically waiting to invest in the stock market through a retirement account like a Roth IRA. I read Susie Orman's books over 20 years ago, and the idea of dollar cost averaging into the stock market felt way too slow and boring, but guess what? Now it's over 20 years later. That time went by anyway, and my portfolio would be so much bigger if I had started back then, even with just a small amount. That's the power of time and compounding. And I learned the hard way that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the next best time is to start now, now, now. If you've appreciated these amazing women sharing so openly about money, especially about money mistakes, which can be painful and embarrassing, but are so helpful to learn from, make sure to check out the links in the description of this video. You'll find all of today's special guests, plus great free resources that they've created so you can connect with them and learn more. And speaking of learning, in our next video, we're talking about the biggest lessons we've ever learned around money and investing. The kind of lessons that can change the way you handle your finances forever. So click right here to watch it now, and I'll see you there.